I would like to welcome everyone to the startups and welcome to the advisory board members and to the general attendees. So my name is Mathilde Vadde, and I organize pitch nights at the Startup Club, as well as investment conferences and also fundraising service for introducing startups to investors during our online events. And if you would like to hear more about our services, you can connect with me on LinkedIn, or you can visit our website. And so tonight, I'm happy to introduce you to 3 green tech startups. The first one is called BridgeDeFi, Tokenization of Debt in the Green Bond Market, and it's presented by Morne, Olivier. The second startup is called Advanced Autoponics. It's an intelligent growing and monitoring plant system for buildings. And this company is presented by Sayon, Chandrakanthan. And the third startup tonight is called Foods of the Future, presented by Mats Ridderström. It's a healthy, nutrient-rich, natural salt that tackles climate change. And now just a few words about the format of the event. Each startup has 7 minutes to pitch, followed by 20 minutes question and answers by the board members. And anyone of the general attendees can use the chat to ask some questions to the presenters and also for networking. And now a few words about the Startup Club. We are a one-stop shop for the global entrepreneur community. Our vision is to assist businesses in their capital structuring and growth. And we help connect entrepreneurs with investors, advisors, and mentors and other key players in the startup ecosystem internationally. And we are hosting pitch nights and investor networking conferences. And we help startups, scale-ups, and growing companies reach their funding and development needs. In 2022, we hosted over 50 events and also workshops. And our events are attended by angel groups, venture capital firms, private equity funds, and other investment professionals. And we are very happy to have over 70,000 members in our online network. And we are growing in several industries. We have having pitch nights in not only green tech, but also health tech, fintech, food tech, and fashion and beauty, and there are more to come in 2023. So yeah, welcome to check our webpage and connect with us if you would like to attend any other events. And now I'm happy to welcome the board members, and I will ask you to, if you could introduce yourself in a few sentences to the audience. And so let's start with Marina, Machin, Alvarez from Closed Loop Partners. Hi, Marina. Happy to have you here.
Hi, Mathilde. Thank you so much for holding this event. My name is Marina. I have a background about 6 years in the investment world, and currently I work for Closed Loop Partners, which is an investment firm based in New York, focusing on the circular economy. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Marina. Welcome. Happy to have you here.
Thank you.
And then I would like to ask Andrea, Monti, if you could introduce yourself. Welcome.
Hello, Mathilde. Thank you for having me, and hello to everyone. I am based in Geneva. I'm leading the Founder Institute chapter on impact and sustainability. The Founder Institute is the largest pre-seed accelerator with more than 200 chapters all over the world. So our chapter is global around impact and sustainability. I am a father of 2 kids, padel instructor. I love to work with founders and to hear from them today.
Thank you so much, Andrea. And now I would like to introduce you to Nicolas from Summiteer. Hi, Nicolas.
Hi, Mathilde. Thanks for having me. Yes, I'm Nicolas, working for Summiteer. We're a newly funded VC company in Germany, and our focus is on clean tech energy, sustainability services, everything with a clean and green background.
Thank you, Nicolas, and welcome. Nice to see you again. And then I would like to introduce you to Carlota Vento from Plug and Play. Hi, Carlota.
Hi, thanks, Mathilde, and thank you to the Startup Club for organizing this event. I'm Carlota. I work at Plug and Play as an early stage investor. Plug and Play is a global innovation platform connecting corporations all over the world with startups, and also has built an in-house VC, investing from pre-seed to Series A startups all over the world. So yeah, very happy to be here and looking forward to the pitches.
Thank you very much, Carlota. And our fifth board member tonight is Amit Grover. Hi, Amit. Nice to see you again. How are you?
Nice to see you, and it's always good to be back on the Startup Club. Look, I'm a venture capitalist. I run two funds. The first fund is in Singapore, which is a fintech fund. We do a lot of seed-based investing. And the second fund is a food technology, agri-technology, and climate tech fund that I'm currently building in Dubai with a focus for the global focus. In addition to this, I've been an entrepreneur for 16 years. I've run multiple very large-scale businesses. I run a consulting practice that specializes in intellectual property creation and monetization, and also helps a host of small, medium companies in defining their ESG strategy. So that's what I do for the last 16 years, and I hope I can kind of help the startups pitching today.
Thank you very much, Amit. Thank you all for the introductions. Wonderful to have you here. Now we can go right ahead and start with the first pitch. So if you have any questions, use the chat. And Okay, so I would like to welcome the first presenter, Morne Olivier, and the company BridgeDeFi. Hi, Olivier. Happy to have you here. Can you hear me?
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having us or hosting us, Mathilde. And yeah, thank you for everybody that's attending. Can I share my screen?
Yes, absolutely. You can share your screen. Where are you based, actually, Morne? Are you in South Africa?
Yes, I'm actually in South Africa. Would you like me to make it a full screen so everybody can see better? Or?
Yes, that would be better. Yeah.
Okay. There you go. Okay, so yes, I think there might have been a slight confusion. So the company is Green Carbon Standard, and the company is being registered in Portugal at the moment. I'm Morne. I'm the founder and CEO of the company. And with that said, we have partnered with BridgeDeFi to make this all happen. Basically, so the company we want to launch in Europe, and our MVP, or the initial product we want to launch, is tokenizing green bonds. So green bonds is a financial instrument. Nothing really changes there. But bringing the product onto a blockchain brings a whole lot of efficiency and scalability to that and to that market. Secondly, we want to develop the carbon standard on a blockchain, and in this case, Ethereum. So what that means is providing a foundation for other companies to build applications on Web3 and a blockchain. So those are the two basic concepts: tokenizing green bonds and developing the carbon standard. I just quickly want to go back. Tonight, I'm joined with Duncan from BridgeDeFi as our partner, obviously, and he might also be helpful in answering questions or jumping into the presentation in time. Okay, so our MVP is, like I said, tokenizing green bonds. That brings a whole lot of efficiency to the product. And what we've done there to help us get to market fast was to partner with DigiShares. So DigiShares is a tokenization platform from Denmark. They tokenize securities and bonds, and we've partnered with their back-end engine to make it all happen. The front end is being worked on, and we should have a soft launch during Q1 next year. Our development, the carbon standard, and for this presentation, I've called it the ERC CO2. Brings together three basic principles of Web3 and the blockchain technology. With certain, or with private blockchains, okay, there's two blockchains, there are two kinds of blockchains, private and public, right? So with public blockchains, you actually manage to take data and resources in a decentralized format. You enable it to be permissionless, and therefore bring a whole lot of different a whole different environment to the concept. Decentralized permissionless blockchains offer, like I said, a vast amount of different scenarios for everybody. With this development, we've partnered with Consensus and Ethereum. So Consensus is the largest representing company for Ethereum. One of the founders of Ethereum is he is part of the company, and they one of their products is MetaMask Institutional and MetaMask. And for our purposes, we'll be using MetaMask Institutional, and one of their developing companies is Infura, and we will be developing the standard with them on chain. So they've said that we are welcome to start the process also during Q1 next year, and we'll definitely make lots of strides from February onwards, I think. Okay, so for anybody who doesn't really understand blockchains or the decentralized world as such, I'm quickly going to run through this page. Decentralized data is stored securely. It's hashed, so it's encrypted and stored on a blockchain. But that hash or that encryption is transparent, so the data is actually available immediately. So it gives you real-time results. It's encrypted, and you can actually go and draw from that information immediately. This allows for lots of versatility. If you think about investments for LPs and GPs, drawing information from a blockchain is essential so they don't make mistakes going forward. It also brings in a larger market participation. So if you think about tokenization, it's fractionalized, right? So it's not one unit, it's broken up into several units. So that fractionalization brings a larger, or the opportunity for a larger market participation. So anybody with, you can cap it to 100 or 100,000 or whatever, but the person on the street can actually get access to this sort of platform and innovation. It also brings the decentralized governance tool to the space. So instead of having one single person or one single company making all the calls or decisions, it can be established in the wider framework of the community, with layers, of course, and certain parameters being set to that. So it's a bit of a breakdown just on why we are choosing blockchain to do our platform on. For the investor and the funds coming in, through MetaMask, have established a DAO, which is a decentralized autonomous organization. and the DAO holds a escrow service, which is connected to smart contracts, which automates funding through milestones that's actually set out or predetermined. So if this project gets funded, funding will go into this escrow service, and the DAO, people in that community or in that specific investment pool, will decide on when and where the funds are distributed. So that mitigates a lot of risk for the investor, and obviously puts the team in responsible for what they do and how they do it. There are 4 different sectors we've identified: finance, being a financing green projects or bonds, investment hedge funds. There are mechanisms and protocols that we can use that already do hedge funds on Ethereum. Verification. So, big thing in the green or the carbon market is the verification, or verifying that you've actually done something there, either way. And blockchains do exactly that. So when the information is hashed and encrypted onto the chain, it verifies that information is real and it can't be changed. So that's a perfect fit for the carbon market and things like double spending and other things. Also, another one is the data aggregator. So, we all understand that there's a lot of different data flying around, and finding, well, there are also a lot of new tech and blockchain tech data protocols or platforms coming up, and we've been communicating with them to incorporate their services into this system. The more data we can gather, obviously, and aggregate to certain verticals, the better the performance of the system will be at the end.
I'm sorry, Morne. It's been almost 9 minutes now.
Sorry,
yeah.
I'll quickly run through it. So yes, some climate change verticals, registry, verification, and data, marketplaces, obviously. Generally, they're OTC orientated, but I want to add an auction and the hedge fund, smart contract regulation and jurisdiction. Those are very important and part of the foundation of what we'll do when we write the smart contracts or start writing the standard, because they will form the foundation of the smart contract. And that's where a lot of the funding will go as well, would be into jurisdiction and regulation and things. The assurance on reporting, obviously, to make sure that the reporting is correct. Bit of a roadmap. We've done our MVP, we're almost ready with that. And then, going forward to develop the standard on chain. And the actual goal is to have Ethereum, or have a green Ethereum arm, which will host all corporate development coming onto Ethereum as an ecosystem for them. And then, yeah, so in short, that's what we are trying to do. Our first MVP will be a marketplace for carbon, for green bonds. We'll develop a carbon standard on Web3 on a blockchain. That will bring in demand for applications to work with us, and corporate and business to work with us. And the business case just scales from there, really. And then lastly, we take data in, we hash it, so we encrypt it to make it safe, we validate that it's real, and we prove that to a global society.
Okay, thank you so much, Morne. Thank you for the pitch.
Thank you.
So now we can move to the Q&A, and I was thinking about starting with Andrea. If you want?
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for the presentation. I would have a few, but not to waste too much time and to steal too much time to the other people. Maybe I would make 2 or 3 in a row so that you can answer to that. I would say my first question is would be around the marketplace, and so would you imagine could be the initial, let's say, customers or anchor customers for the marketplace? I mean, which organization do you believe will have the most compelling need to come and be on the marketplace? Then I would be also curious to know about the timing on the roadmap. And lastly, I would say I miss your story. I mean, why you as a person are in a position to propose this now? What's your experience?
Okay. So firstly, yeah, we've been talking to a couple of brokerages and brokers, mainly in Europe. One specific one I can think of top of my head is the Scandinavian Savings and Loans. They have an ESG arm that facilitate a lot of work throughout the globe. And then the other one is Bayer through agriculture. They have a ESG roadmap that they want to achieve, and they bring on a lot of farming and agriculture to various new systems like us. So those are just 2 examples. Obviously, my communication over the last 6 months to various companies and entities have been building that network and infrastructure, and we'll start loading them early next year. Yeah, so there's definitely an appetite. I mean, we understand that there's a big demand for technology products in this area, and we want to fulfill that. I think with the development with Ethereum, we'll chip away at the niche products that we can develop with them. And so that's not set in stone as yet, but we have identified, I think I identified about 16 products that we can develop in the market that will bring efficiency and easy access to the blockchain software or blockchain ledgers. Why me? Yeah, I'm from South Africa, so it's probably a bit different to find someone from here speaking in the European market, but the passion, where does the passion come from? Well, my blockchain experience is something I've built up over the last 4, 5, 6 years, 6 years probably. I started a company called Business to Blockchain a couple of years ago as a consultancy, incubator, accelerator. After the beginning of the year, I sort of moved towards securities and partnered with DigiShares. And from there, saw the market and a huge demand in what the ESG space needed. From a personal perspective, I mean, you can find me on Facebook or Instagram. I'm an avid cyclist. I'm in the mountains a lot. I live in the countryside. I appreciate what I have around me. I grow my own vegetables. I farmed before. I had a milking milk goats and made cheese. I had a cheese factory for a couple of years. So yeah, I've done enough to come and say that I appreciate what's around me and I want to preserve what's around me. And I think that's important. And I think I can definitely do that with technology, or at least advance and help, the circumstances around me with the technology that I have built knowledge on.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. And then I was thinking Amit, and in the order could be, after Amit would be Marina, then Nicolas, and then Carlota, and we can keep this order for the next. So Amit, would you like to give your feedback?
Yes, I've got 3 questions. My first question is, you're about to launch this product or platform in the middle of something which is a very big turmoil of decentralized finance, especially with the FTX recently. And a very, very volatile climate, both in terms of decentralized finance and the products that it offers, as well as now America showing signs of going into deeper recession. 2023 is not going to be a walk in the park for anybody in this climate. That's my first question, how are you going to tackle that? My second question is, what is the business case? How much money are you raising? What's your business plan? I didn't get a idea looking at your pitch deck on that. And my third question is that you're obviously piggybacking on Ethereum. I'm talking about green and carbon, but also how do you kind of balance the mining? Because Ethereum, as we all know, is a crypto, right? And mining crypto and products and tokenizing and mining tokenization products creates a lot of carbon. So in the midst of your entire platform, how do you manage carbon emissions? These are the three questions. If you could please answer them.
Yeah, so let's start the last one quickly. And yeah, so Ethereum moved to proof of stake and have become much more economically viable or environmentally friendly when they did that a couple of months ago. So that's a good step in the right direction. And they have a roadmap of launches that they are going to do over the next few years set out that'll improve that as a blockchain. Yes, they have a token, a cryptocurrency token, the second largest in the world, of course. But I've got nothing to do with the token. I want to develop on the blockchain. I want to use the software ledger, the distributed ledger. So that software system is totally different to what we want to be involved with. We've got nothing to do with the speculation of the token. That's the blockchain ledger itself we want to work on and build on and develop on. Ethereum is actually the largest built and developed blockchain for dApps and decentralized applications that are working on them in the world. And their footprint is just enlarging. So if you take the token aspect out of this and you look at the ledger and how you can utilize the software, then that's key to that answer. We ourselves will not be launching a token at all. So I actually started this company 6 months ago as green carbon token, right? And over the last couple of weeks with FTX, etc., decided, well, I didn't want it to be confused with a company that's going to launch a token, because we're not. The token part was more tokenizing securities or tokenizing bonds to bring that efficiency to that bond or that security. So I changed the name to Green Carbon Standard, because that's the end goal, is to actually code that standard on chain and not have this company being confused with a token. So we will not be launching a token. That's not the plan. The plan is to develop a standard on chain where companies can come to and use that foundation to build out their own applications and formats. So there's no speculation involved in what we want to do, at all. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, the business model, the revenue, what are you raising?
Yeah, so we are looking to raise $1 million for a year period. Within that year period, there's a lot of scope and different scenarios that needs to happen. And that's why I brought up the DAO and the escrow service with MetaMask Institutional. So any investment coming into those vehicles will be managed by everybody. And one of the aspects, or one of the actual things that I would look for is the investor or the investors coming in to be specifically involved with the company, because they should also have the passion in this market and be hands-on with what we intend to do. So one would be to understand the concept. Two would be passionate as we are to make it succeed. And I think that handshake and that combination will assist the DAO and the money spent.
I was looking at clearly is if you've got a business model which projects financial projections for the next 3 to 4 years against the money that you're asking for. Obviously, it'll come with a pre-money or post-money valuation, and what are the basis of that valuation, and how do you make your money. So I was looking at that financial plan that I couldn't see in your pitch deck. I'm sure everybody on this panel would be very eager and keen to have a look at those financials to really get a better understanding of what you want to do, how you want to do, and what are the financials supporting that.
Yeah, okay. I didn't add it for this, but we can share those information afterwards. I'll be glad to do that. I've got a 3-year plan that I can share. And yeah, I mean the revenue model, the return on investment becomes apparent when you go into the verticals of this. So building the foundation or the standard on chain would be the foundation. And the verticals from that, you know, when you represent an open source code, other companies come in and they build on top of that. So there's licensing involved. There is, you know, various mechanisms you can assist that, and then you can also, where we've identified, I said 16 different niche markets within that. We can go build our own verticals for corporates and companies that need the information. And it basically goes around verifying the data, having a registry that's global that anybody can tap into, and the marketplaces. Obviously, there's lots of marketplaces, but then again, there are added on an auction side to the marketplace and a hedge fund to the marketplace, which is 2 aspects that current marketplaces do not have. They're just speculated with coins and tokens. So again, you know, you look at the current blockchain protocols that's out there. They've done their thing and they've gone and launched a token, added a token to it, and trying to punt the token, which is not really what we intend to do. It's more providing the tools and access to the blockchain technology to make it work. So yeah, but yeah, I'll be sharing. Well, I can share the information on the financial side of things with you if you like.
Okay, thank you, Amit. Marina, would you like to give your feedback?
Yeah, thank you, Monty. That was very helpful. And actually, my question was around the competitive landscape, which I think you were touching right at the end of your answer. Who else is doing this, and what are the IP components of other platforms and your platform itself? What are the barriers to entry? So if you could talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so the competitors are verification. So they take what Vera has done, for instance, and they take that on board and they verify it. Vera has actually stopped that tokenization of that process because I think it was something like 2012, 2013. One of the projects actually went too far back, and that data, mixing that data up with current data was confusing I can't remember the whole story, but I know Vera stopped it because of the confusion between an older environment and a newer environment, whatever that was. So yeah, I think there's a lot of different aspects that we can tackle and do. I think that the current competition has gone and done something to give the current world a product that they can't really use, instead of going back and developing something on chain where the companies can come to and incorporate their new development. Because, I mean, if you think about it, Web 2, the normal internet now, we develop applications, right? So if you consider that Web 2 is moving to Web 3 and to blockchain technology, and that people or corporates must go develop decentralized applications on them, then that's where you need to go. In that scenario, you need to develop a standard, like the ERC say 17120 or 17 or whatever, and open source that so that the companies can come, latch onto that, and build their own scenarios which fits them best. Now, that integration can be double licensed, can scale out to support. There's various aspects to open sourcing you can make money from. Plus, then also we have the standard that we've developed. We've got the IP for it, and we can immediately go and tick the boxes for the high demand products that the world needs for this verification, etc., and go and develop this. And that process we need to facilitate with the investor and with consensus in Ethereum, and say, this is what we think 1, 2, and 3, and what do you as a developing company think, and they'll then marry the two and off we go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marina. And now it's Nicolas' turn.
Yes, so thank you. Several questions I had are already answered. I get your business model and I get your USP. The only thing that's still not clear for me is the demand for your product and the proof for the demand, if you can answer that.
One for the product and the proof. Okay, so, well, Amit spoke about the volatility in the market and the economies, global economies, that's not looking good for the next 2-3 years, right? So we understand that global economy is going to struggle. Things are going to be turned around. We're going to face new aspects of that. And I think blockchain technology definitely plays a part in that change. The demand is there. The ESG market needs this, and they're the most lacking actually, because you look at the real estate market in the ESG. It's a disaster. It's not conforming, and the different data sets is not coming together. So and they're all trying to plug and play, but it's not. You can't marry Web 2 and Web 3 like like a miracle. That's why I say we need to develop a carbon standard on chain, and then go and assist these companies and people to come on board by developing for them, or having their own, or actually providing that plug and play for that system. So yeah, demand wise, we know it's short. We know that from an investment perspective, corporates are definitely going to look to save where they can. I mean, that's so why not provide a service and an efficient software financial service that will help or assist in turning the global economy around when it is hit bottom and it needs to get back up again. So I think it's actually the perfect timing.
Okay, right. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicolas. And then we have last feedback from Carlota.
Sorry, I forgot to put my lights on, and it's gone dark yet, so that's why I'm in the dark. It's not bright. I can quickly turn it on if you want. If you give me a second. Please.
Yes, I think that would be good.
No, a bit better. Okay, cool.
Yes, that's better. All right,
Yeah.
Carlota.
Thank you. I think most of my points have kind of already been covered. But something that I kind of, was wondering is kind of what does your team look like right now, and if you have any plans of scaling up the team with the round of financing, and how does that look like for you?
Yeah, so the BridgeDeFi team is they're global. There's three partners in America, one in UK, one in Portugal, and then two of us in South Africa. The green card, well, I initiated the platform, and then, you know, in today's global sense, if we partner with a company like Consensus that developed MetaMask and Infura, you know, Consensus is spread globally. There's a couple of, there's like almost 600, 700 developers under that. Under that, so you become part of a global system, really. So in-house, yes, we will definitely scale up with our own in-house development if necessary, but I don't think too much. Not if we have the IP and support of Consensus and Ethereum. Our main, I think, cost outlay is going to be from a legal perspective and jurisdiction perspective, and having to choose the right team or company that will work with us to give us the right insights to develop. That's going to be instrumental to developing the standard, because that legal corporate and the developing corporate must meet together, and you know, we must chip away at where to start and where to finish. If we make mistakes in the beginning there, it will set us back. So yeah, that's from the perspective. So I think that the main cost involved over the first year will be for legal representation and chipping away at the jurisdictions. And you know, as you know, jurisdictions is vast, so there's a massive amount of work just in coding that onto chain. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know if I have time for one more question, or if we're.
Maybe you can use it ask it in the chat.
Okay.
If you want, yeah, because we're a little bit running out of time. So
okay, no problem.
Also, Morne, there are two questions for you in the chat from Tom Bloom and Niels Schneider. So if you want to have a look and answer them. Thank you so much for the pitch and for all the feedback. So yeah, so we can now move to the second pitch of the evening. It's advanced autoponics with Sayon. Hi, Sayon. Are you here?
Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Hi. Can hear you fine. How are you
doing?
doing?
Good. How are you? How's everybody?
Good.
Here
good.
It's morning. So
where are you? Where are you based?
In Colorado. So it's about 10:45 a.m. here. Yeah, so if you guys are ready, I can go ahead and get started.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm the founder of Advanced Autoponics, where we have created the first automated plant growing and monitoring system for buildings. So if we take a look at the world today, we look at people around the world and we see that 54% of the world's population lives in urban environments, with that set to increase to 66% by 2050. So what does that mean? That means that a lot of us are going to be surrounded by concrete, glass, and we are less in tune with nature, and we have less nature around us. And even if you look at, you know, offices that you visit and airports and such places, you see that there aren't a lot of plants. But inherently, plants have a lot of benefits, and there are a few plant facts that I want to share. And after sunlight, plants are the second most wanted element in an office. And you see at places where people shop that guests are willing to pay more with higher satisfaction rates. And you look at places like hospitals and clinics, you see faster recovery times. And if you look at places like Google or Facebook, you know, there's places that you want less stress, less anxiety, more focus. And on top of that, you also get cleaner air with plants filtering the air for you. So there is a market currently that we see with green walls. So you may have seen green walls at various buildings. They're becoming more and more popular. And in 2021, that market was 9.1 billion, with it set to increase to 19.4 billion by 2020. And you look at green roofs as well, and in 2021, that market was 1.3 billion, with that set to increase to 3.2 billion by 2026. So we see that, the world is kind of going in that direction, and that they already inherently see the benefits of having plants in our everyday spaces. But there are a lot of issues with green walls and just taking care of plants in general. And that is, you see a lot of bugs, you see uneven watering, overgrowth, clogged water lines, and there's very much so a lack of automation. So what this comes down to is that a lot of people who get handed these green walls, there's a lot of upkeep involved. And, the taller the green wall is, or the more plants that you have in a building, the harder it is to maintain. I mean, if you take a look at your house, if you leave for a week, you're worried, who's going to water your plants and such things. So imagine that with having hundreds of plants around a building. So that's why at Advanced Autoponics, we've created our Gemini system, the first automated plant growing and monitoring system for buildings. So we take a factory mentality. So my background is a lot of factory automation. I'm an electrical engineer. That's what I went to school for. So when you look at downtime at a factory, that leads to increase in lost revenue, and you want to always make sure your plant's running. So the way we kind of designed our system is that it continuously runs. If there's issues, you can continue to run, the plants continue to thrive. And that helps us as a business standpoint because we keep our costs down, right? We don't have to send somebody here, send somebody there, or have last minute flights or trips or angry customers. So that's kind of the mentality we took when we designed our system. So we use hydroponics as our base. So with hydroponics, you get 20%, less floor space is needed. You save a lot more water. So you use 10x less water, and it's easier to automate because you're just dealing with water. With our hardware tech, we've designed it to be modular, so we can kind of go into any building, we can lay it out, and our system can basically fit in any shape or size. We always provide the optimal plant conditions. Our system uses has less disease and bugs. And that's how we've designed our hydroponic system. And then it's also low maintenance. And then if you look at our software side, we can provide remote support. We have built-in parameters. So if you want to grow, like a monstera, or you want to grow an elephant ear, you can just go ahead and click that from our user interface and you're off and running. We monitor your water and energy usage. So, in the long term, we can use the data to decrease that further. We provide over-the-air updates. We can even control the rate of growth. So if a plant's getting too big for a space and you don't want to have somebody come in and have to chop it down or, trim it, you can actually control the rate of growth and we can slow it down. And you can get alarm notifications, and that can be via text or other means. So here's an example of, the Denver airport on the left currently. And if they would have called us before, they built it, they could have had something like on the right. So our path to commercialization, we started off in 2017, kind of playing with hydroponics. We tested with our first plants in 2018. We created a concept, and then we created some alpha models and we tested that out, and we decided to go ahead and submit a provisional patent here in the United States because our system is so unique and there's not another hydroponic system out there like it. So we continued our beta testing. Then in 2021, during the height of COVID, we'd also submitted our non-provisional patent. And in 2021, we also started securing suppliers. And we had a lot of conversations with people in the industry, experts that deal with green walls plants. And in May 2022, we started our first customer trial. And currently what we're doing is we're working on collaborating with architectural firms and healthcare providers, consultants and things like that. And being a startup, those conversations are, they take a little bit longer than we would want, but that we are headed in the right direction. And by 2023, we hope to begin some sales of our system. So I talked a little bit about it, but our target market is developers and architects. So our system allows developers and architects to kind of place plants wherever they want to with automation, because they don't have to have somebody go up there and take care of it. So we give that freedom for them to really design buildings with more plants. We're also talking to building designer consultants. So, if the end client wants more plants, or, they want to have a more carefree space and a more relaxed setting, we were talking to consultants. We're also talking to healthcare consultants that want to provide better spaces for patients. And the last is building maintenance, because they don't want to deal with all these green walls and all these plants. All the times, they'll get a green wall or plants designed in the building, and it can be very expensive to maintain. So those are our targets. And then we have 3 revenue streams. We can sell our system. We have a maintenance service. So, quarterly or twice a year, we have to calibrate this, the sensors, and we can even have people come out and make sure that everything looks good. And then we have software as a service. So we provide that remote support and periodic updates as needed. If you look at how plants are maintained right now, our target is that 10 to 15 plants or higher, so 10 to 40 plants. And you look at the cost of maintaining the plants, and these are just if they're on ground level. Now, if they're up higher and hard to reach areas, this cost even goes further up. So what we do is, with our system, with the years of testing, we can actually provide remote support and monitoring for 250 years, because we know with our system that we don't have a lot of issues and we don't have a lot of maintenance. So that's why we can come in and offer a price point like this, which is much cheaper than having somebody come in and water and maintain your plants themselves. So, our initial market is that we're looking to do an average of 100K in a sale, with 4 sales per quarter, equating to 1.6 million a year. And that's kind of just starting off as a small startup, to give you kind of the business side of it. And then the team is shown, and we have somebody with a CPA background and has worked with startups and works at PricewaterhouseCoopers. We have another gentleman who works, with a lot of operations and has set up engineering teams in Sri Lanka for us and elsewhere, and it has the AWS networking infrastructure background. And then myself, who's an electrical engineer, industrial automation background. And then we also have one gentleman in Sri Lanka who kind of continues our development of our product. So that is a little bit about advanced autoponics, and thank you guys.
Thank you so much. Great pitch. All right, let's start the Q&A with Andrea.
Thank you very much. I have to say, I love what you're doing. Definitely, I would be one of your, not customer because you're targeting architects, but I would love to have your system in my office, because all my plans usually die. So I definitely need you. I would give you an advice, maybe on the path to commercialization slide. I would not use it, because it seems that you started in 2017 and yet you're not to the market. So likely also you did other stuff, and on top you said that you need to test a lot the system, and that's why you can have this competitive pricing. But so just as a generic advice, and in fact, I am much interested about your go-to-market strategy, how you could reach out to those different segments, and also, if I did the math right, are you thinking about, I mean, the 1.6 million revenue per year, are they for something like 133, 150 plans per month? Is that the right number?
So that would just be the hardware sales we're looking at for that price. It doesn't include the remote maintenance, but that would also, so the remote maintenance side is kind of lowballed to ensure that, you know, we're showing customers that, hey, it's cheaper than maintaining plants that are soil based.
Yeah,
so
I see, definitely. I mean, also you're targeting mid to big sizes should be direct, so that also you sell a kind of concept of something not luxurious but premium, rather than having few plants with a local gardener. But could you please expand on the go-to-market strategy? That's my question. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so what we're doing right now is, you know, we're talking to a lot of architectural firms, and, you know, we're talking to a lot of architectural firms around the world, because, you know, as we see, you know, a lot of them are looking for ways to incorporate plants, but sometimes they don't get that freedom to do so with the current like green walls. Sometimes those are added in after the fact. So that's one of the things that we're looking at as our go-to market strategy. So we've been having a lot of discussions with various architectural firms. And then, you know, here in Colorado, we've been talking to people who are working with long-term care facilities. So in particular, you know, people who are going to be in retirement homes and things like that, they are in an environment that isn't very conducive to, let's say, mental health. So we're talking to healthcare and kind of the mental health aspect of it as well. And in cooperation with that, we've been talking to a company that does building maintenance. So they want to kind of do both. They want to provide a better setting for the people who live there, but also provide like a garden and then have less maintenance. So, you know, that's kind of our go-to-market strategies, finding those people per se, and then kind of going after them, if that makes more sense. And then the big thing really is to show them like that our maintenance and is lower than everyone else. And that's kind of the big thing. Because if you look at green walls, when you install it, the cost to maintain it is almost more than the initial cost to install it. So that's kind of our argument point for our system.
Thank you. Thank you, Sayon.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. And now it's Amit's turn.
Thanks. Hi, Sayon. Great presentation.
Thank you.
I happen to know a bit about this subject, you know, in addition to owning stakes in a very, very large architecture practice in the world. But anyway, we'll come to that point later. I've got 3 very specific questions. The first question is, you talked about marketing your software service and all your services to the institutions as well as the office, the commercial building space. That's where, you know, you identified the need of your system. Now, what's really happened during the COVID and after the COVID is the reliance on commercial buildings and commercial infrastructure have gone down because the gig economy has come up. There are a lot of people who prefer working from home. There are a lot of people working remotely. Big companies to the tune of PwC, EY, the accounting firms hire like crazy. They're reducing their real estate footprint and going to a skeleton model or a business center model where they're giving flexibility to employees to work using cloud and using technology. Now, in this, you know, kind of trend that is promoting remote working, reliance on commercial infrastructure is going to slowly decrease, number one. So if your business model is purely aimed at institutions like care homes and hospitals and universities and schools, I can understand. It makes a lot of sense. But then their numbers are not immense. Number one. Number two, we are going into an era with very high inflation, which means there's a lot of cost cutting going on, especially in the US, with headcounts coming down in companies retaining thousands of people, literally, and giving up commercial space. So that's, I'm wondering how your business model stacks up in an extremely volatile environment that we're going in, because you've not even launched. So the chances are that you won't be speaking to the Googles of the world and the Facebooks of the world and the American Expresses of the world. Before you get an entry into those companies, it's going to be a while. So you're going to start with medium-sized or small-size establishments to prove your business model. And that's the sector that's going to be in tremendous pressure right now to cut costs and just stay afloat in the given uncertain times. So that's my number one question. How does your business model stack up where there's remote working going up, people are giving up commercial institutions, and there's a recession looming and inflation record high, which means cost cutting? My second question is around your patent. So could you improvise and make me understand what your patent really does? Have you already been given a patent? Is it a utility patent? Is it a design patent? And can it be licensable? That's my second question. And my final question to you is, if the system, like you say, works so well, and you can control it through cloud and a software service, why aren't you solving the world's biggest problem, food security? If it's hydroponics and aquaponics based, where it's inspired by, why aren't you going and implementing this in large-scale farming institutions that is of more of a need to the world than having green spaces and offices, for God's sake? I mean, people don't want to die if you don't have green spaces and offices, but definitely food security is a huge issue. And if it can be implemented in that area, then you and me need to have a serious conversation offline. So yeah, please, if you could answer these three questions.
Okay, so to start off with the first question is, we kind of have launched, we'll call it a soft launch, but besides that point, in the States, what we're seeing is a lot of these big tech companies, and I know, like you're saying, we aren't there quite yet, but they are trying to lure people back in. So if you look at Amazon's new headquarters that they're building out east, they actually are asking for an automated system for plants and things like that, because it's a strategy to lure people in, to say, hey, we provide this atmosphere when you are engineering our products. And then to kind of speak on the atmosphere of the economy, yeah, it is true that, we're not in a good state and we're looking to get perhaps a little worse, but we are cutting the cost of having a person come in. And if you look at, I'm sure it's true around the world, but in the States, we're having such labor shortages that we can't even find people to run like an Arby's or a Starbucks at certain parts of the day. So with our system, we kind of reduce the need for that human to be there, right? We bring upon the automation. We tell you exactly what's going to happen, or like what's happening with the system, what to pinpoint the issue is will pop up with our system. So you don't have to have a person who knows plants, or per se, you can have, oh, you need to do this, and we tell you exactly what that is. Sorry, I forgot, what was your second question? I know one was about
around your patent.
Oh, around the patent. Yeah, so it's a utility patent, and it's around the hardware and the software. More so the hardware component of it. The software is an additional piece on that patent. It is not. It is still patent pending, so they haven't quite reviewed it. And we'll have some back and forth with them. And yes, this can be licensed, as you were asking. The last thing with growing is, yes, it can be done for growing. We've tested here. So I originally lived in Wisconsin, and I moved to Colorado because it's a very questionable thing around the world, but here in Colorado, you can grow marijuana, right? So we tested with growing marijuana, we tested with growing tomatoes, and yes, we can grow food with it. And yeah, it can be used for growing food. So yeah, to answer your question, it isn't something that we are not trying to do. It is something we are still continuing to do. It is just another, branch of us.
I personally feel that's going to be a huge branch that trumps your entire business case, to be very honest, if you can crack that. I come from New Zealand, so we grow a lot of medical marijuana out there. It's legal now. Look, if you have the research that supports that this can be used in large-scale cultivation and farming, an area that I'm very heavily invested in, please touch base with me on LinkedIn. You can get the details from the Startup Club, Mathilde, and let's have this conversation because I might be able to help you.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's do it.
Thank you very much, Amit. And now it's Marina's turn.
Thank you so much, Sayon. This was really helpful. My first question is around, I think I didn't get quite well this, but can your system be installed once the building is already built, or do you have to install it afterwards? The second question is regarding the 3 revenue streams. Can the client choose only to buy the hardware, or do they have to sign up for the maintenance and the software part? And third, around the supply chain, where are you currently developing your products, and where are located your main clients?
Yeah, so sorry, could you just repeat the first question again?
The first one was around the no, don't worry. If your systems can be installed once the building is.
Yeah, so it can be. So all we need, in the US we use 120, in other countries they use 220. So all we need is an outlet, and then we have our own electrical panel that we've designed, and then we require a water line, and that's it. So if we can tap off a water line and put our own automated valve on there, that way we can do automatic refills. Those are the only 2 big things that we require from a client. So it can be done in existing buildings, new buildings. And then, sorry, could you repeat the second one?
The second one is around the 3 revenue streams, and how can the client choose between only buying the hardware or signing up for the maintenance and the software? Okay.
So when they buy the hardware, they have to buy the software. It's a package. The reason is because our system is so unique. You can't just plug something else into it and get it working. We have a very specific designed software to work for our system, but they don't necessarily have to buy the maintenance package. But in order to make sure that it continues running, it's almost like doing like an oil change, right? So yeah, you could pay a lot of money and just do it at the particular time, which is something that we offer too, or you could just do the remote monitoring maintenance, but not required.
Got it. And just the last one, sorry, in terms of supply chains, where are you currently producing?
So we produce right here in Colorado. So my background being in automation engineering, industrial engineering, industrial automation, is that I have worked with suppliers here in Colorado. So I know quite a few suppliers, and I have established those supply chains. And so we do everything in Colorado. Now with our system, to decrease the cost of shipping and things like that, we've looked at also getting it produced. Since we have drawings and things like that, we can get it produced locally to reduce the cost of shipping our units as well. So.
Got it. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Marina. And now it's Nicolas' turn.
Yes, thank you for the well-structured presentation. I really enjoyed it. The question regarding your time your time path. You said that your first customer trade was in May 22 this year. How was it? What was the feedback, and how are your sales going? Because you said they should start late 2022, beginning 2023. That's now. So what's the current?
Yeah, so we had a discussion with a small firm in California that does a lot of green wall installs and a lot of plant maintenance. And what we learned from that is that our system for him in particular was a little expensive. And the model that we have isn't supportive of their individual models. So if you look at small firms, like his was only in the San Diego region. So what they typically do is that they buy a system, they sell it for very minimum price margins. But what they do at the end is that they make a lot of money on the maintenance, going out there, making sure it's running, making sure that the plants look green, and so their model is maintenance, right? And our model is decreasing maintenance. So it was kind of it didn't work with us to kind of form a partnership there, but he did really like the technology and he was really thrilled about it. But he told us that's where we kind of went directly towards those new the product market fit. We kind of changed from going to these individual distributors to going directly to architects, because he's worked with architects before and they have a bigger budget. And being a small company, we haven't hit that economies of scale to reduce our costs that we want to get to. And, it's all been bootstrapped by the guy who's talking, myself. So, the development has taken a bit longer, the testing's taken a bit longer, and the cost is a bit higher than we would like. But, that is another reason that we're looking at getting investments to reduce our costs and become more competitive in the market as well. So.
Okay, and have you had first sales since then, or when do you plan on starting your sales? Because your business plan said you will start now in late 2022.
Yeah, so that was a late update. So yeah, what we're doing currently is we're talking to a lot of people, in different markets in Europe and the US, and we're talking to a lot of architectural firms. So, they want to understand the product, they want to know how to design it. So I would say that the sales of it to that clients would be pushed back a little bit, because they want to know and understand how to design it into buildings that they're currently looking at. And we talked to another company yesterday, and they have to work with their budgets to look at how they can fit our product in. So we're really looking at sales next year.
Okay, and my last question, for how much money are you looking for? How big is the investment you're looking for right now, and for what time period?
Yeah, so we're looking for $500,000, and that would keep us going for, we operate around 2 to 3K a month. So, what we would do with the 500K is that we would look to reduce our overall costs, right, of our system, to make it more competitive. And that would last us quite a bit. So we don't do a lot of big marketing, we do individual outreach. So that would last us, like 2 years. And I have a full-time job currently. So that's how I afford doing all this on the side, is that. So what I would do is I would drop the full-time job if we got an investment, and then go full blown at it. And, it would also help us get to trade shows and things like that. So a lot of it is just going on LinkedIn saying, hey, would you like to have a 20-30 minute discussion with us? And kind of going from there and going to events around Colorado as well. So that's how we're doing it now. So that would change with an investment.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nicolas. And the last feedback for this round is from Carlota.
Thanks, Mathilde. Thanks, Sayon, for the presentation. Super interesting. I know I heard that you kind of briefly touched upon kind of the cost, but it would be great if you could kind of maybe briefly explain a bit the pricing model, kind of the breakdown of the kind of the hardware, the software, and the remote maintenance, and kind of what margins are you considering for that?
Yeah, so we're looking at our margins, and we're looking at a standard 30%. And we play with that number depending on our to be honest, our big thing is if we got an initial install properly, there would be a lot of firms that would jump on board. A lot of them say, hey, we like it, but where have you done it? And we're like, that's why we're talking to you, because we want to do it first with you. But so a lot of architects are waiting on that first successful install to say like, okay, we'll use it too, type of thing. And our price point is around 10K, a little bit more than that, for a base of 5 plants with 1 controller. But if we do multiple plants, it really depends on how the layout is. So we're looking at 30-40 plants would be about 50K. So
how have you estimated that this price is something that architects and other kind of potential clients it's something that they are willing to pay for this? Have you kind of done any kind of previous research, or based on what other players are pricing their products at?
Yeah, so we've talked to a guy who's been in the industry for about 30 years, and he was the one that kind of told us that, hey, the upfront cost isn't the issue, it's the long-term costs that are really eating away at these buildings, is that their maintenance costs are going through the roof. So it is a little bit more expensive than other stuff on the market, but there quite isn't something exactly like this out there as well. Sorry, I forgot the other question you had asked. But...
No, basically that how had you kind of estimated that this is something that potential clients are willing to pay?
So based upon like the discussions we've had with people in the industry, that's how we've come upon that this will be a price point that they're willing to pay. So we've talked to the guy who's been doing it for 30 years, the client trial as well. He told us that architects, for them it isn't a problem, but for him, pitching it afterwards is a bit more of a problem. And then just talking to architects on a day-to-day basis as well.
Okay, thanks. Maybe just one quick last question on my end. You mentioned that you're kind of already starting talking to these potential clients. So far, kind of what are the let's say the most remarkable challenges that you're seeing, or like what are kind of the things that they are showing reluctance about regarding your product?
Yeah, so we were talking to a large architectural firm that kind of does work around the world, and we were talking to their R&D team, and they have looked at hydroponics and this kind of tech, this hydroponics and plants in general being a big thing that they want to start doing more of. But the issue with them being so large is that they want to see us already have something out there in the market that's already designed into the building. So the guy, he reaches out to me every once in a while and says, hey, are you working on a project where you're getting it installed? Hey, but then the thing with all of them is, unfortunately, that they all say the same thing. So they're all waiting on the first person to go, and we're kind of trying to find that first person to kind of do the install with. And then we kind of see a trickle effect that would happen from there. So that's kind of our big thing. And now when we talk to architects, we say, hey, you know, we've just launched the product, and, you know, we kind of give them we just keep it honest with them, saying it hasn't been installed anywhere per se, but that is what a lot of them are looking for, is that install base. Even talking to others who sell green walls and things like that, they're saying, hey, do you have a system out in Houston? I'm going to be out in Houston. I want to take a look at it. So that is, you know, our biggest point. We need to get that kind of hero client, or that big first kind of client to jump on board. So
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you so much, Carlota. Thank you, Sayon, for the pitch. And you have like 3 questions in the chat from Niels Schneider, Tom Bloom, and Tom Lindholm, if you'd like to answer them in the chat. Thank you so much again, everybody. We will now move to the third pitch and the last pitch for the evening. It is called Foods of the Future, and it is presented by Mats Ridderström. Hi, Matt.
Hey, Matt's here.
Hello, welcome.
Thanks. Let me share my screen. Let me know when you can see it.
Yes, we can see it, but it's not large.
Okay.
Full screen.
All right. Yeah, so I'm Mats Ridderström. I'm the COO of Foods of the Future, presenting the product Green Salt. How did it begin? 2017, Hugo Ricardo formed Sally Vitae, producing fresh Salicornia. They began experimenting a bit with dehydrated California and this green salt. They decided to form a separate company to be able to join the EIT Food Team Up program, and to only focus on the dehydrated Salicornia. And that's where I met them. This program was matching up these tech co-founders with business co-founders like myself. So we met 5-6 months ago there, and yeah, looking at the team here, so we have Hugo and Ricardo, who are the Salicornia experts with halophytes and all of that. Myself, I spent the past 6 years managing an online marketplace for sustainable fashion. So I went through the entire journey from founding and actually being acquired last year. So here we go again. Carolina also joined through the EIT program as a business co-founder. She's a food engineer and also worked at Unilever. So that's our team. What's the problem we're trying to solve here? Well, what is the #1 cause for mortality in Europe with almost 4 million deaths? It's a big problem. It's proven with excess sodium consumption leads to increased blood pressure that results in cardiovascular diseases. About 98 million people have hypertension, so they need to cut down their salt use and find a salt substitute. It's a bit tricky for consumer to find an option that is good. Most of them are unhealthy or doesn't taste that great or are unnatural. So here we come into the picture. We can offer this healthy, full of nutrients, natural salt that also tackles climate change. Why? Because we do soil regeneration of salty lands where we actually plant the Salicornia. So looking a bit at the Salicornia and the green salt, as mentioned, you know, healthy because it reduces the sodium intake with 75% compared to normal salt, full of minerals, tastes good, it's natural, and sustainable, as mentioned. Yeah, I don't know if you know much about Salicornia. I know I didn't. It's a vegetable growing by the sea, same family as quinoa, full of nutrients and also protein, which is quite rare. Is there an opportunity here? Well, salt substitutes, it's a quite big market, 1 billion euro. It's growing every year, so we do see an opportunity for sure. Of course, there's a bunch of competitors out there. I think we found 87 of them right now, salt substitutes. Most of them not that healthy. It's potassium chloride or a lot of sodium, as we said. So not always sustainable, and some actually don't taste that great, or they're not natural. So of course we have all these nice attributes in our green salt. So I mentioned they started in 2017. They began with the green salt. Of course, the pandemic hit, so no huge numbers in the revenue. They already won the first prize, the Food Lab Award in Portugal. And this year, yeah, as I said, got admitted to the EIT Food Team program, where we formed this new team and company. So yeah, we're ready to go. We already have some partnerships, a bit with soil regeneration impact, and we're working on some more in the health aspect and impact. There's a lot of doctors doing research on Salicornia now. It's healthy for many different reasons. So we do see opportunities there. So what are our target customers? Basically, could be anyone using salt, I would say. We will target our marketing a bit more towards the ages of 30 till 50. Maybe people who has some health issues or plainly just looking for a healthier salt alternative. Price positioning, we're more on the premium side. Of course, regular salt and some salt substitutes are very cheap. So here it's a bit higher price compared to those. We think that about 70% of our sales would go offline to hypermarkets and department stores, and 30% online. There's a lot of potential with other products. This is nothing we have begun yet, but of course we're thinking big, and there's potential in the future to do many interesting products with the Salicornia as well. What's our go-to-market strategy? We know there's some education you have to do for the consumers. Same thing when I was in sustainable fashion. Why should you choose the fair fashion instead of fast fashion? The same thing here with green salt, regular salt. Of course, we will analyze every market, and we have a pretty good online strategy, something I worked a lot with in the fashion industry as well, with sustainable products. Sales projections, we will target Portugal, Spain initially, and launch our e-shop this year. Looking at Europe first, beginning with 3 more countries to add, and then we have a nice hockey stick going straight up there with an Asian market. You gotta think big, right? So that's the target in the long run, is the Asian market. We see a lot of interest from there. They seem to like this taste as well. Revenue model. So yes, offline, a lot of B2B, hypermarkets, supermarkets, online sales as well with marketplaces you can connect your products to. There are some smaller revenue streams as well. We can do private labels, rent our equipment, and some consultancy services for farmers who wants to use their salty lands to plant Salicornia on. Use of funds, we're looking for 320,000 euros. What do we want to do with it? We want to scale up the production, buy some equipment, raw material, Salicornia that is, set up the e-shop, some initial marketing, operations, some small salaries for the founding team to survive. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We have some advisors already. Arturo, we met through the EIT program, and Joan is a neurologist doing some experience what Salicornia can do for stroke patients. So quite interesting. That's my pitch. Thanks. I do have to say that my co-founders are right now on an award ceremony, so I may not be able to answer all the questions. They are the Salicornia experts. Our sales manager is there as well. So I'm alone here, but I will try my best to answer the questions I can. Otherwise, we can do it through email or other meetings. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mats. Really great presentation. And you made it in time, 7 minutes 40, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so Andrea, would you like to start with your feedback?
Yes, thank you, Mathilde. So Mats, thank you for the presentation. Given that you are alone, we are trying to give you then some hard time by colleagues on the board. So I'll start, I mean, assuming that the product does everything you said and the pricing is the right one, I'm focusing a bit on the market because you basically said that there are 98 millions of people suffering from hypertension, and the market itself of salt substitute is 1 billion. But then I understand that you're not really targeting this market, and you could sell even to people not suffering and not looking today for salt substitutes. So really the question is, how do you structure your go-to-market? And you partially explain it, starting geographically. So I would say I would have two questions here. One is, how are you going to brand it? Because of course, depending on the user personas changes a lot. I have a bit of experience in fast fashion, fair trade fashion as well, and healthy food. So it is totally different branding. So you need to choose a sub-vertical there. Yeah. The question is, you're planning then to go to Asia. I see that it is far behind, but why not thinking at USA after that you conquer Europe, if you can do that? Because to me, US people have a more similar habit than Asia compared to Europe. So those are my two questions actually. How do you play with the branding and digital personas? And then I'm sorry, no, there is another one. How do you deal with the real competition or another kind of competitor, which could be simply let's use less salt, which is another trend.
Yeah, so with the first one, I wouldn't want to do something that's looks like a medical thing or something like that, or just a boring plain salt. I want to do a cool hip product, something we did with the sustainable marketplace as well, with some, you know, more flashy colors and things like this to stand out a bit, because I want also the regular consumer in Berlin going to their small health store, seeing this package and thinking, okay, you know, why not to try this salt as well? I want something more healthy or organic only. So yeah, I know there's something we need to amend, so we meet both those groups, I think. And regarding Asia, we get that question, you know, why not US? There's a lot of obesity there as well, health problems. So it's definitely interesting. And I think, you know, as a small startup, you're always flexible. And if an investor comes in and say, hey, I'm interested in US, well, okay, you know, let's talk. So we've been on a few fair trade shows where Asians has come up and said, we love this. I don't know if it has to do with the algae thing being bigger in Japan and China, for example. Could be they know the product and the taste, so that's why we're looking a bit at that. Plus, it's a huge market, but definitely US could be interesting as well. Yes.
What about people willing to use less salt?
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, that would be a trend then, that you would have a healthy food, but it would still taste not salty, which in general people want the salty taste. So we don't see it as a huge trend that all of a sudden people want unsalty food. I don't see that happening very rapidly, at least. So that's why you have, for example, these green alternatives with it's not as salt as regular salt, but you have a lot of nutrients as well. So yeah.
Thank you, Mats.
Thank you, Andrea. And now it's Amit's turn.
Hi, Mats. Great presentation. I think you've covered most things that seasoned, food tech investors would like to see. I understand that you have collaborated with EIT. They're very well known to me. And this product is completely up my alley. This is what I do from morning till evening with many, many products. Now, I've got two questions. One is around, obviously, the price, and I understand the price is quite high in comparison with alternatives available in the market to consumers. And probably one of the reasons is availability of this crop that grows around the coast. So my question to you is, how does one scale up this product to come closer to what is available in the market in terms of pricing? And can hydroponics and aquaponics and vertical farming be used to address that mass scale factory production volumes that will help you reduce price? Because given the state of Europe right now, and given the state, like I've asked all your colleagues who pitched, that inflation is touching skyrocketing high. It doesn't seem like a very viable business model to sell something at 100 euros a kilo, given what the world is going into, with costs. So that's my first question. Can it be produced in volumes to lower cost? And if yes, how? My number two question is, when I saw your competitive landscape, I didn't see a lot of big, small or medium companies doing what you're doing. So does that imply that you've got a patent on this or intellectual property of sorts? If yes, then the game could be very, very different than what you're playing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the first question regarding lands, the Sayon company currently has 7 hectares. It's I mean, they are the experts in that, but it's apparently very easy to get a hold of this land. It's not used for anything now. Farmers has it. It's more or less destroyed from the salt. And Salicornia is one of the few things, maybe even only thing that can grow there. So from what I understand, it's very simple to get this land, rent it, grow it. Then it takes some time. But there are also other producers that we can buy dehydrated Salicornia from. We have done projections on this, so we can definitely provide you more detailed information from the Salicornia experts. It's not my Gebiet completely. So that's what I can say about that. Yeah, so I mean, the price is about €5 a package now. So we have calculated in our projections with the inflation as well a bit. So we're well aware of that, of course. Regarding competitors, yes, we only picked a few there. There are above 80 that we found. There are some doing green salt in Portugal. For example, you have some very small ones, so they are not aiming to go big, what it looks like, and hasn't achieved that much. There's one big in Mexico, I know, but yeah, that's not any big ones with green salt that we have come across. It's not that many producers in general.
Patent, my question.
Yeah,
patent.
no patent so far.
Is it possible? Can you attain a patent?
Good question. I would have to ask my co-founders if there's anything we can do that. Not that I'm aware of, but can come back to you on that one.
So follow-on question, which probably would be crossing a lot of people's mind, that what stops Unilever to tomorrow see what you're doing and do the same?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's always the big question, right? Like, what if the big players come in and decide to do this? It takes some time to grow this Salicornia and expand it. There is not even enough dehydrated Salicornia on the market today that you can buy and begin producing this. You have to, get the land produced, and it also goes in seasons. So that's why you require a lot of land. So it's not something you copy very quickly or easily. You also need the knowledge that we have in the team, from 6 years. So these guys are professionals in this. So yeah, that's the short answer.
So you basically think for a Nestle or a Unilever or one of these, large scale giants to be able to replicate your know-how and knowledge, is going to be more expensive than buying you guys out? Is that what you're kind of talking about?
These guys can do anything, right? They have the money and the team for it.
Look, I mean, that is the reason I asked you the patent question, because my point was, why create the supply chain, the distribution and the value chain to get the product to the end consumer, whether you're taking food service or you're taking retail or you're doing online, when you can pretty much license this product out to all the medium-sized and large-scale food manufacturers and literally, I mean, live on licenses. I mean, why spend on customer acquisition cost and burn rates. That's the reason I asked you that question, because what my fund does is take food technology and supplies it to medium scale food companies, not of the size of Unilever and Nestle, but substantially larger. And then they take that technology and build their own product line because they've got the whole value chain sorted out anyways. So I don't see the merit in replicating that value chain, spending crazy capital and burn rates to acquire that customer and then create the entire value chain that already really exists with somebody. So that's the reason my questions. Anyway, I'm very, very interested in your product. Please contact me on LinkedIn and let's take this conversation offline.
Will do.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Amit. And now it is Marina's turn.
Thank you so much, Matt. This was really helpful. My questions are around the crop itself. What are the ideal climate conditions that needs to be given for this crop to grow? And then what is the life cycle of the crop? So how many seasons do you have and how long does it take to actually grow?
Yeah, where are my co-founders when I need them, right? I mean, this is for Hugo in California. This is for Hugo and them to really. They are the farmers. They are in the field actually cutting the salicornia. I know it's a seasonal cycle that you plant it. It takes a few months for it to grow. It has to be, as I understand it, by the sea. You can have a greenhouse, but it's very expensive to, buy the land, build the greenhouse. We're talking hundreds of thousands of euros. So that's why.
I'm sorry, I just see that Hugo has joined the call.
Aha. Hugo, you want to take that question or?
Yeah, no, I'm just joining. I'm delighted to hear you. So
good.
Maybe, and I'm not sure if you heard
Marina,
the question.
could you repeat the question for Hugo maybe?
So thank you for joining. And if not, we can also take this question offline and another time.
Sure.
But it was a little bit more around the crop itself. I'm not very familiar with it, so I just wanted to learn a little bit more on where it can be grown and what are the ideal climate conditions and what is the life cycle of the crop itself. So how long does it take to actually grow it? And
okay. So Portugal, southern Portugal, southern Spain, Morocco, those are the ideal places to grow because they are warmer climates. And the climate between months are bigger also. So we have a lot of months that we have a medium to high temperature, which is what Salicornia likes. From a range around 18 to 25 degrees. That's the ideal temperature. But it supports a lot more. It can endure until 40 easily, but that's the ideal temperature. It has a cycle of around 5 cuts, so it depends on the frequency of the cuts. If we cut it 3 times each month, it means that it will have a 1.5-2 month cycle of life. If we cut it less times, it will continue until 3 months. So we are building around 3 crops each year. Okay, three cycles. And after each cut, after around 3 to 4 cuts, we take all the plant, we clean it, and we are using to build this product, this green salt.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know if I answered all your questions, but
I have more, but I think I'm gonna let the rest to continue making questions. But thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Marina. And now it is Nicolas' turn.
Yes, so Mats, you answered most of the questions, and your presentation covered a lot of details I'm interested in. The only thing I'm worried about is the low cargo. You said that it's around 3.5%. Your growth you're planning for next year is way higher, so you need to steal the customers from your competition. How do you plan on doing that?
Mats, we cannot hear you.
I was thinking if who goes on there, but okay. Yeah, no, I think we go back to our marketing, to our go-to-marketing plan there, with the new kind of branding. Looking at our competitors, I haven't seen this more maybe what I call hip or cool or more flashy design. It's usually just a boring salt. I'm interested in creating something more interesting to appeal to a broader audience. But I think also with Salicorn, this is a new product, right? So it's a bit unknown, but if we can reach out with this information that it is healthy, but still salty, you know, and it's nutritional, it's about education, but also put that in the marketing and get awareness out there. And that we think we can do both online and with the offline. That's a short answer, yeah.
Okay, and then I saw that the competitors you listed all have white products. Yours is green. So how do you think you can handle to get consumers to accept green salt instead of white? Because if you consumed white salt or white alternatives for your whole life, it's maybe difficult.
Yep, exactly. I mean, it's a common question. Most people are used to that, but in most of the food, the green color won't be an issue, I would say. You know, we had a picture where you put it in bread, and there is very significant difference. So there, it won't go for all people, but again, it's a bit of education that you have to maybe prioritize to get something healthier. You know, you need to change a few things, but this could also work better, I think, in some countries and some not. Yeah, I often take the example, if you would sell this instantly to an Italian pizza bakery, good luck. You know, it's very traditional. So it's about picking maybe the countries that are mature for this product as well. We see, for example, France, Spain, and Portugal, they know Salicornia and maybe open to the green color a bit more.
Okay, all right. No more questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nicolas. And then Carlota will give her feedback.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Well, again, I think most of the points have been already covered. I was just wondering, how have you tested that there is like a product market fit with your product?
Product market fit and testing. Hugo, you want to jump in there?
Yeah, sure. We have tried the product in 3 different packages because we are always trying to get the best package in terms of environment. So we have tried glass, we have tried cardboard, and then because of humidity, we have now turned to Doipack. And with all those extensive research and market and testing and giving to people and seeing what do you taste, how do you feel, what is best, how are you going to use this? So we have a lot of feedback right now, and we know this product is very interesting for several places, for several people. So that's all the feedback we have right now, and we want to really do a product that is packed the way we think it should be. So we are not clear this is the last, the Doipack is the last package. We believe it will be better, the next one. So, and the step we are taking now. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah, I mean, I think you were maybe going more about kind of how you are marketing the product, but like if there is like an actual, let's say, acceptance of the market, or like you know, a real interest in the market of purchasing your product. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think that was kind of my point.
Yeah, that's a point. several persons have already asked us, okay, but what about sales? Why don't you go? Why don't you scale up? That's exactly the point we are right now. We don't want to get to the next stage as we have been before, just as farmers, as producers. No, we want to do something that when we enter the market, we really will enter the market, not just with 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 units.
No,
Okay.
Maybe just let's say a quick feedback or observation on my end. So obviously let's say the market of salt consumption is basically huge, because mostly everybody consumes salt at some point. But I think that the market of your product is not everybody who consumes salt, or everybody who's trying to reduce salt consumption for different reasons. I think maybe people trying to reduce salt consumption for a health purpose, or maybe, let's say, on the higher end in terms of age, maybe other people in terms of fitness. So I think that, let's say that the segment that you described is quite broad, and I don't know if it would be interesting to kind of consider let's say a bit of a narrower market of actual actual consumers who are willing to spend more money on this because they really see a lot of value in using this alternative to salt. And that's how I see it.
Okay, exactly. And one of the first things that we are already targeting, it's doctors, because a lot of doctors are trying to get some kind of substitution of salt, and they are prescribing things like potassium chloride, like the ones that Mats already showed you, and they don't have something like siliconia. Most of them don't know. So that's one of the first targets, because a lot of doctors prescribe it to their patients and give knowledge to all the people around them. So it will be one of the first targets. I think it's one of the obvious targets for me.
Yeah, for me, it would be also, as I mentioned before, more the ethical consumerism, so the sustainable consumer, the people interested in the environment as well. So I think that's also an interesting niche to target. And that could be also younger people.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
All right, thank you, everyone. This was the final pitch for this evening. So thank you all for joining this event at the Startup Club. I will be sharing the contact list of everyone who attended to all of you, and also a link to YouTube channel with the recording if you would like to share it or watch it again. Yeah, I would like to do like a short a round table of the board members, if you have a few concluding remarks, or what did you think about the event, just a short summary. So Carlota, would you like to say a few concluding thoughts before we say goodbye?
Well, no, I mean, I think on my side, just thanks a lot for the three to the three presenters. Definitely super interesting to see from different angles how everybody's developing new products and new technologies to kind of go about climate change. Definitely super interesting from different, let's say, different sectors. So yeah, I mean, I think that's about it on my end, and also thanks to you for putting it together.
Thank you so much for joining. Hopefully we'll see you again on another board in the future. Sure. Thanks. Okay, and then we have Nicolas.
Yes, also thank you from my side. Thanks for organizing this event. Thank you to the founders for giving just great insights, and we're looking forward to stay in touch with some of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining. And Marina?
Yeah, thank you to the Startup Club for organizing this. Was really helpful, and thank you for all of the founders to be here, and happy to take this conversation offline and continue building the relationships. So thank you so much to all of you for being here.
Thank you so much, Marina. Happy to have you. And then we would like to ask Amit to give us.
It's always great, Mathilde. It's always great to kind of do these events. It's great concepts, great pitches, and hope to see some more in this sector coming out. So yeah, for both Sayon and Mats, please get in touch with me whenever convenient, and let's take the conversation forward. Cheers.
Great, thank you so much. All right, and then Andrea.
Yes, thank you, Mathilde, for having me. Thank you to all the board members for the interesting question, and to the founders. I would say thank you, founders, for the energy. As a green community, I believe we have a responsibility of pushing this forward, be more and more credible as supporter of purpose-driven startups. So I would really push you to be more to pay more attention, be more credible on the market side. I see that still maybe sometimes we are a bit far from having a proper go-to-market strategy or proper competition and user personas detail, which is not happening in the traditional, let's say, ecosystem. So happy to give any feedback to you if you need in the next weeks or months, and let's keep pushing. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Andrea. All right, so then we made it just before 8, so right on time, so that's good. I will be in touch for the about the next event, and I will be very happy to have you again on this on the next session. So have a good night, everyone, and we'll be in touch. Bye-bye.
Thank you,
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.